some of you may know this gentleman here. His name is Scott Marks. I am so glad to have him here in Shelby County. Yes. So he works for OPRA. Do you guys know what OPRA is? It's an acronym. Okay, what is OPRA? What does that stand for, do you think? I don't know. It's okay. Does anybody else know what OPRA stands for? Okay, Scott, help us out.
All right, well, opera, you all know what opera is. Sing la 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 la, come on. You know what it is. So yes, OPRA stands for the Ohio Provider Resource Association. So really, if you go with the flow of it, it really should be OPRA, not opera.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, everyone calls it opera. That's not weird. I'm just being silly right now. So we ready to go?
Yeah, so this is Scott Marks. Please welcome him. Scott's going to talk about the new Ohio ISP and how it will affect a lot of you in this room. And he is going to talk about how you guys can prepare to take the lead at your next ISP meeting. All right, thank you, Scott.
All right, thank you. Good morning, everyone. How's it going today? Thank you for having me here in one of my favorite places in the whole world, Sydney, Ohio, right next to Greenville, Ohio, my second favorite place in the whole world. But I appreciate you all having me here today. We talk about the OISP. Has anybody heard these letters before in that sequence? What is the OISP? What's that?
I can either, where you get your money from.
Perfect. So you led us right into the first question of the day, because before I can even talk about what is the Ohio ISP, we got to take a step back and see what are we even talking about with these words, these letters, ISP. So we heard right here before the ISP, it's where your money comes from, funding for what you need. Anybody else know what an ISP is and what that stands for? Yeah, in the back.
It means when you give money for spending money.
Yeah.
So we've got spending money. So again, one thing to be clear about, it's not just about money you get to spend, right? It's also about the money and the funding that pays for services or supports or things that you might need to get the things done that you want to do in your life. Anybody else have anything else you want to add to this question of what is an ISP? Anybody else? I like getting 3 answers. We got 2, 1, and 2. Yeah, let's hear it.
Value that's all you all said, is what you do.
Your plan for what you do. I couldn't have said it better myself. So let's put those things together, right? The ISP is the plan for what you do that also contains the funding and money, how it's going to make it happen, right? So very good. Thank you so much for those answers. Yeah. What your ISP, it's basically your plan for how you are going to get services or how people are going to help you do the things that you want to do in your life over the next year. So that's basically all an ISP is. It stands for Individual Service Plan, right?
Yeah.
So the plan for how you all are going to get the services you need, again, to live your great life. So what does the O stand for in OISP? What do you think? The O in OISP. Yeah, in the back. Ohio, perfect, right? So now we not only have an ISP, an individual service plan, we're adding an O to it, which makes it now the Ohio ISP. And there's a reason we're doing that. Because I have a question. Who knows? Who can shout it out? How many counties are there in the state of Ohio? Does anyone know? Anyone? We can sit here and count, but that might take a little while. Yeah. 88 counties in the state of Ohio. And a good way to remember that, right, is there are 88 keys on the piano. 88 keys on the piano, 88 counties in the state of Ohio. It kind of rhymes a little bit. But the reason that that's important is there are 88 counties in Ohio, which also means that right now there are 88-ish individual service plans being used by all 88 of those counties. Which means that if you were to move from one county to another, your whole ISP and whole plan would look completely different. If you maybe were living in 2 different places and going back and forth between services, it would be very confusing because those plans would look very different. If you're a disability service provider and you work in different counties, it's very complicated, right? Because some counties have plans that are like this long and this big. Some counties have plans that are just like a couple of pictures and a couple of words. And it gets very, very confusing and complicated when we're all trying to work and be supported by 88 different plans across the state of Ohio. So, somebody had the smart idea about 3 or 4 years ago to say, this is kind of crazy that we have 88 different plans, 88 different ISPs for every county in the state of Ohio. So somebody had the smart idea to say, we should stop that and just have one plan that is consistent, that is the same throughout the state of Ohio. So no matter where you go, where you live, who your provider is, what county you work in, that plan looks the same. And guess why that's important? Because then we all know what we can expect in that plan, how to prepare for that plan, what kind of questions we might be asked when we lead into that plan, right? Because it's going to be the same throughout all of Ohio, no matter where you go, right? We don't have to have this system where we have 88 different counties, 88 different plans, and nobody really knows what to expect. So welcome to a whole new plan. Like, I don't know if anyone wants to do any Aladdin, a whole new world, but that's where we're going to be here in a moment, right? Because we no longer going to have 88 different plans. We have one plan, and does anyone remember what that plan is called? 4 letters. The O. Oh, someone wants to do the OH with me right there. Sorry about that. So yes, that is the OISP, and that is where we are going. It's been a long time to get here. We've been working on this for a long time. But hopefully by sometime next year, end of the year or so, we all will have the same OISP, and we will all know what is expected in that plan and know how to prepare for it. So I want to ask a question for all of you, because this is very important. We are here, right, at a self-advocacy conference, a self-advocacy meeting. And self-advocacy is very, very important when we're talking about the ISP and getting ready for your ISP meeting, or what will be your OISP. So I want to know, can someone throw it out here? What is self-advocacy? We're all here at a self-advocacy conference. What is it? Yes?
It's where you learn to defend yourself and
What?
speak up for yourself.
Defend yourself, speak up for yourself. Perfect, excellent, I love it. Does anyone else want to add to that? Anyone else want to add? What else is self-advocacy? Anybody that knows that? Does that mostly do it?
I know.
Anyone? Going once? Going twice? Yeah!
It's our local people who've done that in, I would say, meeting.
Yes, exactly. Where you stand up in the meeting, right, and where we get it all done. So this is very important. I want to connect these two ideas, right? Defending ourselves, standing up for ourselves, being in those meetings, making sure people are being nice and listening to us, right? And I want to pull these things together because what we're going to talk about is that OISP, and what did we say it was? That's the plan, that's the meeting that says what services you might get, how a provider might help you, what kind of funding or money might be in that plan for you, all of those things. So it's very important that you can take the lead and make sure that you are defending yourself and standing up for yourself in those meetings and making sure that what you want is what's in that plan. And that's what we're going to talk about here today, right? So just some more examples of self-advocacy, as you all know it here, right? It's speaking up for yourself. We said that here. Staying informed. That's what we're doing today. We're getting information about what is in that OISP and how we can be prepared for that meeting. Knowing your rights, finding support. That's what we're doing in that ISP. We're finding what supports you might need to accomplish the goals that you want to. Problem solving, self-determination, and then asking for help, right? And we all know that because we are here in Sydney, the Regional Self-Advocacy Conference. So, the OISP, that's what we're talking about, right? It's one assessment, one service plan for all Ohioans with developmental disabilities who receive services, and it really has 2 parts in it. There are 2 parts to the OISP, and that's what we're going to talk about today. It's something called the assessment, which is really, they're just questions in different categories that kind of lead into what services, what funding, what money you might need to get the things done that you want to get done. and then the plan, which is what outlines all of those things that are going to help you accomplish your goals. So what we're going to do here today in a little bit, right, and the whole idea here is, sorry I skipped over, is that when you are in that next meeting, when you're defending yourself, when you're standing up for yourself, when you're making sure that people are being nice, when you're making sure that people are listening to you, that puts you in the driver's seat at that next OISP meeting. And I'm not saying necessarily it's going to lead to you driving a car. That's not what we're saying, even though I know we have capabilities folks here. I know we have driving instruction going on as part of what you do, but it's really more about you taking the lead, you being in control at that OISP meeting, at your ISP meeting, because that is what self-advocacy is all about. So this is just something that DODD, the department, put together for everyone. It's called the Easy Read document about what is this Ohio ISP. So right, like we said, it's one plan for all of Ohio that's designed for you, that helps, that connects back to the ISP, to that DSP providing service, right? And very important, how will it affect me, right? Access and ask questions about your plan. Move locations without changing where you have to find your information. Like I said, it allows you to move without it all being all confusing. One team, less meetings, easily contact your team, more questions answered. So what we want to talk about today, because in just a little bit, we're going to be doing something called vision boarding or dream boarding, where we're going to sort of put all our goals, all our dreams, all the things that we want to accomplish onto a board so we can, think about that, communicate that. That could be the start of our plan, what leads us into that ISP meeting. So in the OISP, there are different areas in the assessment. So when I say assessment, all that means is that there are questions that people are going to ask you about your life and about what you want to achieve over the next year. So those areas are communication, advocacy and engagement, that's what we're here today doing, safety and security, social and spirituality, daily life and employment, community living, and healthy living. So let's break these down a little bit, right? So the first is really about communication. So again, these are the different areas, and when you're doing your dream board, think about all these different topics, these different categories, these different areas that you might have some dreams, some goals, some things that you want to do. So the communication section is really all about how do you best like to communicate, or how do you best communicate? Some people don't say a lot of words, they're pretty quiet, mostly don't use words to speak. So we want to know in the plan, how maybe does someone speak, especially if there's someone that doesn't use a lot of words. Maybe people like to communicate through a device or something like that instead of doing a lot of talking, and that's the kind of thing that we want to know. We want to know in this area if somebody has trouble communicating, or if there's a different way that they talk that might be more effective for providing service, right? So that first area is all about communication. How do you communicate, and how would you like to be communicated with? The next area, right, advocacy and engagement. Well, we know this is an area that all of you, if you're in this room right now, you're already doing great in this area right here, right? Because you already are engaged in self-advocacy. You're doing the work to defend yourself, to speak up for yourself, to know your rights, to make sure people are being nice in those meetings, as we said. But this is going to ask a lot of questions about that. So how involved are you in a self-advocacy group? How comfortable do you feel standing up for yourself? How comfortable do you feel asking questions when you need something? How comfortable do you feel letting people in your life know that you need something, right? And that's what this area is all about. And again, that's what the assessment is going to do. It's going to ask questions and say, hey, is this an area, do you think you need help standing up for yourself? And if you say, yeah, I think that's an area I might need some help, well, guess what? That goes into that OISP, and we think about how we can have supports that help you do that, such as joining an awesome self-advocacy group like this right here. All right, this is one of my favorite movie characters, Bob from the Minions. I see we got some Bob Bob stands in here. So yeah, this is Bob. So this is an area, safety and security in the OISP. This is obviously a very, very important area in the plan because this is all about what you need to be safe, to be secure, to make sure that you have everything you need, especially if you, depending on where you live and everything, and especially what we've been through the last few years with COVID and everything. So again, this is really asking questions about what you need to make sure that you are safe and also that you feel safe in your life, right? So any answers that you give right here would be all about how do we provide services that make sure that you can be as safe and also be as independent as possible. Social and spirituality, right? This is, so that's his mind, spirit, body, right? That's a yogi doing some cool stuff right there. So this is all really about how you connect to other people and other things, whether it is going to church and being religious or joining another kind of group like that that helps you again connect with more people, have more friends, and really achieve maybe some goals that maybe you've not even thought about in this area before. Daily life and employment, this is a big one. We are an employment first state here in Ohio, which means that when this OISP, when this individual service plan is being put together, it is the job of your SSAs, of your team, to ask questions about whether you want to work in the community and make sure that community employment services, getting a job out in the community, is considered first before we do anything else. That's the first in employment first. Right? Saying before we look at going to, let's say a day program or something like that, we're going to look at how we can help you pursue community employment if you want to, and that's a big part of the plan. And part of that, right, is you're figuring out where you might be on this path to employment. There are 4 places on the path. Place 1 is I have a job, but I want to get a better one. Place 2 is I want a job, but I need help to find one. Place 3 is I'm not sure about working, but I might need help to learn more. And place 4 is I don't think I want to work, but I might not know enough about it. So this, in that ISP meeting, this is a question that you're going to get, right? Is what place on the path do you think you're on? 1, 2, 3, or 4? When we look at how those services and supports are coordinated in employment first state, it's going to be all about helping you move up that path until eventually you're on that place 1 that says, I've got a job, now I want a better one even than the one I've got. Community living, where do you live? Do you want to live more independently? Do you want to live with your family? Do you want to have roommates? Do you want to change where you live? These are all questions that will be in that assessment. Ooh. And then lastly, we have healthy living and lifestyle. What do you need to do to be more healthy? Do you need to eat better? Do you need to exercise more? Do you need to get more sleep? Or you could say in this area, no, I think I'm good. I don't need anything to be more healthy. And then they move on. But they're going to ask a lot of questions in this one, I guarantee it. Was there a hand raised in the back? Yeah.
To exercise, to just eat healthy and not eat so much junk food.
Exactly. So that's the exact kind of thing that might go into the ISP, right? If you say, I really want to have a more healthy lifestyle, and in order to do that, I'm going to need to exercise a little bit more, eat a little less junk food, and get more sleep. Yeah?
What happens if you don't have a job?
So what happens if you don't have a job? Great question. So what this place's employment is all about is about asking that question of whether you have a job and whether you want to get a job, and if you do want to get a job, what help do you need to get there? So again, it might be if you're on place 2 on this, that's saying, I want a job, I just need help to get there, I maybe need help in these skills or a couple of different things to build up before I get there. Place 3 is more like, I'm not sure I even want to work, and what could I do to maybe change my mind about it? But yeah, most of these places on the path, they start from thinking that someone who doesn't have a job and what do they need to help get a job. And if that's something that you want, that's really something that the OISP should be able to help with, because if you say, I want a job, I need help to get one, it is really the job of your SSAs, of your team, to figure out what help you need to get. Great question, thank you. All right, so then I'm just showing you this is actually what it looks like on that OISP. We just add it all up. Remember, these are all the areas we talked about: communication, advocacy, safety and security, all here. It goes on here and then it says it, right? Who is responsible for helping? Does this require supervision? All the things, right? We add it up, we put it here. And then lastly, as part of this assessment, we have what is called the person-centered summary. And this is very simple, 4 questions to think about. And this is really, I think, great things to think about when you all are doing your vision boards and your dream boards, right? What are the things that are important to me in my life? What are the things I really care about? What are the things I couldn't live without? What are the things I want more of in my life? That's all under that area. What is important to me? So you get thinking about that. What is important for me? That's really getting back to that safety and security. What do I need to make sure that I'm safe, that I'm secure, that I'm successful, that I can live safely in my home, that I can do the things I need to have a healthy lifestyle like we talked about before. And then I like this one a lot. What do people like or admire about me? And that's a great question to think about on dream boards, and then start thinking, all right, how can I do more of the things that people like or admire about me? And then what are the best ways to support me? So every OISP then looks kind of like this. You have this little kind of front page that really starts to add it all up, right? All about me, advocacy for this person named Angel. That's what she is all about, advocacy, and I know you all are here self-advocates. I know that's a big one for all of you too. And what did we say? A few things that are important to me, a few things that are important for me, what people like and admire about me. So Angel says that she is beautiful, caring, funny, cool, and she stands up for herself, right? So those are very admirable traits, right? And that goes right into the ISP. So that way, no matter what staff, no matter what provider, no matter what DSP might be working with you, they can pick up this front page of the OISP and say, hey, I'm just going to be supporting Angel today. What do I need to know about Angel? Oh, well, I know that Angel is beautiful, caring, funny, cool, and stands up for herself. But I also know that it's very important for Angel's team to not talk to her family without Angel being present and participating. Why? Because Angel is an advocate, and she doesn't like people talking about her when she's not there, right? So these are all the things. If I'm working with you, if I'm working with Angel, I get this one page and say, okay, I know a little bit more about this person as I get into starting to help them, help you achieve the goals and outcomes in your plan. This is a guy named Eddie. Apparently Eddie really likes snakes, because that was the thing that he put in his picture there. So that's Eddie. All right, so we're going to move into it here and talk a little bit, do a little bit of dream boarding or vision boarding. And I know Jessica's got all the supplies to make this happen. And so what I want to talk about here is I want to kind of try to connect these dots a little bit, right, between your dream board, which what is a dream board? It's your dream, your vision for the things that you want to have in your life, that you want to see, that make you happy, right? And then why is it important for the OISP? Because the OISP is how we make these things happen, right? So if you think about those areas that we talked about, whether it's communication, how do you like to talk, how do you like to speak, social and spiritual, what are the things you like to do, what do you want to do more of, what are your dreams for the future as far as where you want to live, who you want to live with, what kind of job you might want to have, right? These are all things that can go on that dream board, and the coolest thing ever would be at your next ISP meeting, which may or may not be an OISP meeting, depending on how quickly we can get all this stuff together in Columbus, that if you were to bring in a dream board or a vision board to your next OISP meeting, and how much better that would go, how much that will put you in the driver's seat, put you in control, right? When they're asking all these questions in the assessment, when they're saying, how do you like to communicate, how do you like this, you say, I don't even need to answer this right now. I've got a dream board and you can see it all right here, right? So that's kind of what we hope to accomplish here. Connect all those dots. Does anyone have any questions for me or about anything before we get dream boarding? Yeah, question in the back.
Are you, like, for the dream boarding, is it supposed to be that you can accomplish anything
So that is a great question, right? So with your dream boarding, it's all about what you want to see, what your dreams, what your goals. Now, I'll be honest, we probably can't achieve everything through helping the ISP, right? But the idea of having a dream board and putting out what you want to do is showing, it gives a vision of, this is who I am, this is where I want to go, and this is what help I might need. Now, again, are we going to be able to do everything that's on our dream board always? Probably not, but that's the point, is it gives us our own roadmap for where we want to go.